Welcome to Pokemon Emerald Rogue, a ROM that changes Emerald to include newer Pokemon, Fairy type, and as the name implies, turns it into a roguelike. With the adaptation to a roguelike, plenty of things are different. I'll go over the main ones real quick before we start. In this, there's no XP grind. Each KO grants 3 to 4 levels for all Pokemon in your party, but there is a level cap, so you can't over-level past the next gym leader. There is no overall map. Instead, a section is generated containing random routes, game shows, shops, powerful Pokemon encounters, and rival fights. You can pick and choose which route you'd want to take before each gym leader, but once you complete a route, you cannot go back. Finally, you cannot have more than 6 Pokemon at a time. There is no box system in this game, so if you want to replace a member of your team, you have to fully release it in order to obtain the next Pokemon. Let's begin. I play as Izzy. I always nickname our Pokemon names that end in a double consonant and a Y. I've tried a couple different runs, so I have a couple different Pokemon to choose from. I choose Cucky the Kecleon. We begin our journey on the Calm Corrosive route. On it, we catch a Gulpin and name it Guppy, a Houndour and name it Dommy. Then we level up the team to the level cap of 15, grab some more items, then we try to find the last Pokemon available to the route, but give up shortly after and proceed on. We continue on to the average energetic route. We pick up some items right away, beat a woman with ease, catch Chi-Chi the Chinchou, struggle in a fight against a Cursula, but ultimately catch it and name her Corey. We healed up Guppy, then grabbed some berries, and continued on. Next is the full rest stop. I healed up my team, I checked in with the move tutor to see if Dommy and Corey could learn anything useful and lucked out with Scald for Corey. Then I checked in with the battle merchants but didn't see anything quite useful yet, so I continued on to the gym leader. Real quick, here's who we got. I forgot to check all of their stats and movesets before the gym, so this is what you'll have to live with this time around. Sorry. A quick note. You never know which gym leader you're fighting until you actually see them. All the lobbies look the same, and there's no hints to which gym leader you're going to be fighting beforehand. Our first battle is Watson, the electric gym leader. He started out with Pichu and it wasn't much of a problem. It only took 2 hits of Sludge, but Guppy hit himself once in confusion. Next up is Minim, so I send out Cucky to clear Guppy of his confusion, and I luck out turn 1 with a 4 hit and a crit on Fury Swipes for a knockout. Chinchu's up next, so I opt for a mirror match and send out Chi-Chi. Unfortunately, Chinchu has Volt Absorb and Chi-Chi does not. We hit Supersonic but end up with no confusion luck as Chi-Chi struggles to do damage. Nearly 4 attacks, and not once does the enemy Chinchu hit himself once in confusion. Luckily, Chi-Chi holds on with 1 HP and we're able to swap out to Cucky. Right away, Cucky is switched to an electric type thanks to color change. He hits a free bind before taking damage from Water Gun, once again changing his type. I swap out to Corey hoping that her rock typing will help negate the damage from Electro Ball, but I'm wrong. With Chinchu now so low, I send out Dommy to finish off the fight and get us our first gym badge. With no casualties, our team is auto-healed and we start off the next leg of our journey. For our first route, I choose the game show because I love to gamble. Left, all of our Pokemon are weaker. Left and Dommy is weaker. Left and Chi-Chi's weaker. Finally, right and all of our Pokemon are weaker. After that train wreck of a game show, I opt to not fight the strong trainer and instead go for the calm, fierce route. There, Guppy almost dies to a Lunatone, but we catch it and name it Lenny. Then we level up and upgrade some moves, but because I take so long to decide, I just sped it up for you. Then we luck out, catch a Dratini, replace Dommy with it, and name it Nighty. We pick up plenty of items, swab some natures, boost some stats, heal some Pokemon, and then we level up on some more wild Pokemon, changing more moves. Just because I can, I catch a Shuckle, then I debate on replacing Corey, but instead I opt to swap out Guppy, and I name the Shuckle Quickie. Afterwards, I bring the team up to the level cap, and finish changing out each of the moves learned by level up. I also boost Nighty and Cucky's level by 2 just so then they're a little bit stronger than the gym leader. Because I didn't learn my lesson last time, I went back to another game show. Right, we get a TM for Hyper Beam. Left, everyone is weaker. Left, I lose $1,000. Left, I gain $10,000. So altogether we walked out of the game show with $9,000 with Hyper Beam and our Pokemon were a little bit demoralized. Real quick, here are the members of our party. I have Chi-Chi in the lead for the next gym leader, knowing that she has the best type coverage aside from Cucky. And with Watson out of the way, I'm hoping for either the flying, fire, or water gym leader, all of which Chi-Chi can handle no problem. My prediction is right and it's Flannery the fire gym leader. Sugma starts, but it is one-shotted by Bubble Beam. Numble's out next, and it's another one-shot. Houndoom is third. We trade hits for a bit, both dealing about half HP, but Chi-Chi has a berry to heal up to yellow, then holds on with just 9 HP after 2 hits, outspeeds, and gets the KO. Finally, she sends out Growlithe. I swap out to Corey. It shockingly knows Wild Charge, and it hits for just over half of Corey's HP, while Scald and the recoil damage bring Growlithe down to less than 10. Not wanting to lose Corey, I quickly swap out to Lenny and have it finish off the fight, earning us our second gym badge and moving us on to the third leg of our journey. I start off the fourth leg with a strong trainer battle, still confident with my Chi-Chi lead. Luckily, he only has 2 Pokemon to fight. To start, Chi-Chi faces off against Minim, but I bail her out immediately and send out Lenny. Minim sets up a substitute, but it doesn't last long as Lenny powers up, then lands all of its rock slides for an easy 4-turn knockout. Next out is Breloom, and despite upgrading and having a double super effective type matchup, I know Breloom will outspeed, so I swap out to Nighty. After trade for turn 1, Breloom Mach Punches and leaves Nighty with 1 HP while he hits a Dragon Rage for the win. Chi-Chi evolves, we are given 3 Hail TMs for the win and the option to take his Minim or his Breloom. We name him Benny. I give up Corey knowing that we have Rock and Water type covered, but we are still missing Grass and Fighting coverage, so the Breloom is perfect. Next up is a Calm Confusing route. We start by leveling up and swapping some more moves, and Nighty evolves into a Dragonair. Most of the Pokemon on this route are duds, but we luck out and a Beldum appears. We catch it no problem, name it Dummy, and replace Quickie. We immediately evolve it into a Matang. We get into a trainer battle against the Jumpluff, right around our level. We nearly lose Chi-Chi, send out Nighty to duel, but lose him because I gambled on a paralysis, stopping its attack. Lenny cleaned it up no problem, but we still suffered a big loss losing Nighty. I gamble with a Quick Ball and catch a Pidgeotto while Chi-Chi is on 3 HP. We name her Rennie and swap out our critical condition Chi-Chi from the lead. We continue on to the next route, but instead of going to the full rest stop like a reasonable man, I once again choose to gamble at the game show. Right, and everyone gets stronger. Right, and I lose $1,000. Left, all my Pokemon are frozen. Left, all my Pokemon are healed. So we're in good shape. We pretty much paid $1,000 to heal everybody and boost their stats. I item up the team and then it's on to the next gym leader. I put Benny in the lead because of its Mach Punch and Mega Drain combo. We run into one half of the Psychic gym leader's Liza. She sends out Chimicho first. Benny knocks it out in 2 turns, but not before getting paralyzed by Thunder Wave. Gardevoir is up next and I'm a little bit nervous. It's a 3rd form Pokemon while I only have stage 2s. I send out Cucky because he's a good type coverage for Psychic Pokemon with Shadow Claw and Shadow Sneak. Gardevoir traces Cucky's color change, so the battle gets really interesting. Gardevoir opens up with a Moonblast, dealing a third of Cucky's health and turning Cucky into a fairy. I forgot that I gave Cucky the red card, so Gardevoir is swapped out and a Lunatone is brought in. It takes damage from the Life Orb, takes a big Shadow Claw and is left in low yellow. Cucky finishes it off easily with Shadow Sneak. Gardevoir is back out and once again traces color change. Cucky Shadow Sneaks, crits for big damage, and changes Gardevoir's type to Ghost, nullifying her same type attack bonus for Moonblast, but it still deals plenty of damage. Another Shadow Sneak gets us an easy knockout thanks to last round's crit. Next up is Grumpig. I send out Rennie mainly as fodder to get a bit of damage in while I find out more about its moveset. Grumpig boosts twice with Calm Mind while I debuff it with Feather Dance and do basically no damage with Twister. Next round he attacks with a heavy Focus Blast, leaving Rennie with 12 HP. Grumpig eats its Moronga Berry to further increase its special defense. I plan to have Rennie tank another Focus Blast so nobody else has to take the hit, but luckily it misses so Rennie lands another Feather Dance to further decrease its special attack. Next turn Rennie lands a Quick Attack for more damage than I expected before going down to the next Focus Blast. I send out Chi-Chi to use Signal Beam and hope for confusion, but I Fat Finger and use Bubble Beam instead. It does next to nothing and Chi-Chi gets hit by a Confuse Ray. I don't mess up this time and Chi-Chi makes it through confusion, landing a good hit with Signal Beam and takes a strong Shadow Ball in return. Tragedy strikes next turn though, with Chi-Chi hitting himself with confusion, then getting slammed by a Focus Blast, knocking him out. I send out Cucky to clean it up with Shadow Sneak and she clutches up with an unnecessary crit to ensure the knockout, securing our 3rd gym badge. To begin the 4th leg of our journey, I opt for the tough wet route to try and replace Chi-Chi. I grab some items and level up the team. I catch a seal and name her Bessie, shortly followed by a clam pearl named Peggy. While I don't really intend to keep them, they'll definitely come in handy. I level up the team some more, Bessie evolves into a Dugong, and Dummy evolves into a Metagross as well. I catch a Houndoom and name him Derry, in homage to Dommy, and a Whiscash named Vicky. Again, I don't really expect the Whiscash to last me long, but I'd still rather have a full team. Before we could leave the route, we had a mandatory double battle that claimed Peggy immediately before she had her time to shine, and also killed our queen, our savior, our starter, Cucky. Peggy wasn't going to last, but losing Cucky really hurts. On our way to the legendary Pokemon, I first have to fight a trainer that unfortunately claimed Vicky. I healed up and approached the statue to see what Pokemon I was going to battle and hopefully catch. It's a Raikou, perfect for us. We still have the flying and water gym leaders left to battle, so this couldn't have worked out any better. It was an easy turn 1 quick ball catch. We named it Busy and move on to our gym leader battle prep. We boost Busy's stats, teach it Hyper Beam, and level it up before approaching the next gym leader. I have Benny in the lead because we still have the water, normal, fighting, flying, and maybe another psychic gym. I'm not really sure if they included the other half of the double battle in here, but we luck out with our lead guess, and it's Roxanne. There's a Sandstorm stage hazard and Omastar is out to start. Benny outspeeds and hits a Sky Uppercut for a one-shot. Cradily is up next and I keep out Benny. He uses Seed Bomb to hit for over half and Cradily sets up Stealth Rock. Aerodactyl's next, so I swap out for Lenny. Aerodactyl misses Stone Edge and Lenny hits a Rock Slide for great damage. Same move round 2, but Stone Edge hits this time and brings down Lenny to just 35 HP while Rock Slide lands again and KOs. Lenny heals up with a Citrus Berry it's holding and Sudowoodo is out next, so I swap out to Bessie. I set up an Aqua Ring to recover some of the HP that the Sandstorm and Stealth Rock have done. Sudowoodo hits a strong Wood Arm, but Bessie eats a Rindo Berry and holds on. I have Bessie dive down. The damage from dive is decent on the next turn, but doesn't bring Sudowoodo into yellow as Woodhammer hits again and finishes off Bessie. I send out Benny for revenge, and 2 Mega Drains easily does the job. Finally, Nosepass is out. I keep out Benny. Mach Punch does great damage as Nosepass heals with Berry Juice and misses Thunder Wave. A second Mach Punch seals the deal and earns us our 4th gym badge. For the 5th leg of our journey, I debate between the magical route and the game show, but by now you should know that nothing beats out Izzy's gambling spirit, so we're off to the game show. Right, I lose $10,000. Right, I gain $10,000. Right, and everyone is poisoned. Left, and I lose $1,000. So I cure up everybody using items and I move on to a rugged route. There, I immediately catch in Gloom and name her Gummy. We level up and learn some new moves and continue on to the full rest stop. We heal everybody up and talk to the battle move tutor to see if anybody can learn anything cool. For the most part, they're all duds, so instead I use a TM to teach Protect to Gummy to turn her into a stall fight queen with Toxic, Protect, and Giga Drain. I teach Busy Thunderbolt instead of its dragon-typed hidden power. I check each of the shops to see if there's any more good items or even a leaf or sunstone for Gummy, but come up short. So instead I buy some stat boosts, distribute them, and continue on to the next gym leader. In the lobby, I give berries to everyone, and with Derry in the lead, I challenge the next gym leader. Unfortunately for Derry, it's Brawly and his first Pokemon out is Hitmonchan. We try for a Flamethrower and it does great damage, but a super effective Drain Punch one-hits Derry and almost fully heals up Hitmonchan. Dummy's out for revenge and hits a one-shot with Psychic. The rest of the battle pretty much follows suit, with Heracross, Hariyama, and Medicham. Though Medicham hit hard in revenge, I swapped out to Busy to one-shot Poliwrath with Thunderbolt to win the fight and earn us our 5th gym badge. On the next leg of our journey, I see that there is a box computer as a route. I walk in and it's a room with 3 Pokeballs similar to how the game starts. I speak to the professor and he tells me that he's caught some of our Pokemon that had fainted earlier on and we could have one of them back. However, he tells us we can only choose one because it would make the adventures quote-unquote too easy. So I inspect the balls to find Derry the Houndoom, Vicky the Whiscash, and Nighty the Dragonair. The choice is easy, so I pick up Nighty again. He tells us that sometimes the Pokemon pick up items before he catches them, but Nighty wasn't holding one. The next route is an average Chili route. We level up the lads a bit and teach them some new moves. Nighty also evolves into a Dragonite. We find some stones, but everything else on the route was lackluster, so we moved on. At the battle prep station, we luck out and they have a leaf stone, but my bag is full, so I have to sell some items to make room for it. So I offload pretty much all the items we haven't used so far for some extra money and bag space. Then I purchase the stone and evolve Gummy into a Vileplume. For once, I actually go over my team's abilities to see what they all are. So I change Gummy's ability to Effect Spore because nobody in my lineup can make it sunny. Next, I see if I can buy some specialized items for each of them. Black Sludge for Gummy and a Dragon Fang for Nighty. Then I go over and see if anybody can learn any more cool moves from the move tutors. Once again, for the most part, it's all duds, but luckily, Gummy ends up being able to learn Strength Sap, an unreal move that lowers enemies' attack and recovers half of the user's health. So I gladly scoop it up, and now in tandem with Giga Drain, Protect, and Toxic, our queen is fully set to go. I finally heal up everybody and move on to the 6th gym leader. I keep Lenny in the lead and hope we'd run into the flying gym leader rather than the water. With Izzy's expert gambling skills, we luck out and encounter Winona, the flying gym leader. Butterfree is out first, and we both buff up turn 1. Butterfree goes for another buff up, but we use Rock Slide to bypass the stat boosts for a one-shot. Next is Jumpluff, so I keep out Lenny. Turn 1, Lenny is hit with Worry Seed, changing its ability to Insomnia. Next turn, Jumpluff tries using Sleep Powder despite having just changed Lenny's ability to Insomnia, an ability that prevents it from falling asleep. Lenny capitalizes on its free turn with a hard Stone Edge, but it's just not enough to one-shot and Jumpluff heals from a berry. Next turn, Jumpluff hits weak critical acrobatics before it's finished off by a Rock Slide. Next, Masquerain is out, who has Intimidate that lowers Lenny's attack. We both buff up turn 1, then on turn 2 I try for another Rock Slide but it misses. Turn 3, Masquerain outspeeds and hits incredibly hard with Bug Buzz, leaving Lenny with only 3 HP. Landslide hits this time, also dropping Masquerain into low red health. Knowing that I gave Lenny an emergency speed berry, I risk it all with another Rock Slide and luck out, and it ends up hitting for the knockout. Winona then sends out Aerodactyl, so I swap out to Dummy. Turn 1, they try for a Stone Edge but miss, and I buff Dummy's speed with agility before following it up with a super effective Meteor Mash for a one-shot. Lastly, it's Ledian. I keep out Dummy because of its buff speed and go for Meteor Mash, but I Fat Finger and use Wood Arm instead for very little damage. Next turn we finish the fight with Meteor Mash, earning as our 6th gym badge with relative ease. On the 7th leg of our journey, I see a legendary shrine further down, so I avoid the difficult route and take the average typical route instead. There really wasn't anything exciting on this route, so we'll just skip over it. The next route is the same as the previous one, just some more trainer battles and others that I do my best to avoid to keep the party healthy in case the legendary encounter goes sideways. After the very easy trainer battle, we discover that the legendary is Kyogre. I try a sneaky quick ball, but as expected, it didn't quite work out, and luckily it missed its Sheer Cold on Benny. Seeing that Kyogre has Sheer Cold has me a little bit nervous, because that means even if it only uses Sheer Cold, the odds are high that it will knock out at least one of my Pokemon. I try for a Mach Punch, but for some reason it fails, and I don't understand why. Kyogre buffs itself with Calm Mind in the meantime. Like an idiot, I try again for Mach Punch, but again it fails. And this time, Benny is hit with a strong Muddy Water. Next turn, Benny Sky Uppercuts for way more damage than I expected and almost knocks out Kyogre before it returns fire with an Origin Pulse that tragically knocks out Benny. I send out Gummy to gamble with Kyogre Sheer Cold. I failed to catch it 3 times with Heal Balls. However, it never lands its Sheer Cold. Kyogre then switches over to Origin Pulse and hits for more than half of Gummy's HP. So for the next turn, I use Protect to let Gummy regain some HP with its Black Sludge so it can tank another Origin Pulse if I fail another catch. But I luck out next turn and catch it with a Dusk Ball. We name it Finny and it takes over Benny's spot. I would have preferred to have swapped out Lenny because his moveset is unreliable and we already have a strong Psychic type, but it could have been worse, so I'll count this as a blessing. I level up Finny on the training dummy before the gym battle and use my one free full rest stop from the Sassy Nurse. With Lenny in the lead spot, I challenge the gym leader and once again just hope it's not the water gym leader. Once again my prediction is correct and it's Norman, the normal gym leader. Miltank is out first and it hits Toxic turn 1 while we buff our defenses. The duel between Lenny and Miltank is very one-sided. Lenny is doing decent damage, but Miltank is just healing up all the damage it takes. I drown Lenny in healing items until finally there's a safe moment where I can swap out to Gummy. I luck out and Gummy's ability activates on the turn it swapped in and puts Miltank to sleep. Miltank stays asleep for 2 turns, allowing Gummy to hit Giga Drain along with Sap Strength. On the 3rd turn, we try for the knockout with another Giga Drain. Miltank heals up to full HP while we hit a Toxic to put Miltank on a timer. Miltank goes on the offensive though, hitting 2 strong Seismic Tosses, but Strength Sap and Giga Drain recover almost all of the damage, no issue. Cast Form is out next, but it suffers the same fate. Toxic turn 1, then it's drained down to keep Gummy at full HP going into Blissey. Turn 1, another Toxic from Gummy, but Blissey throws a surprise Flamethrower to deal just under half HP. While Gummy could have stalled out that fight, I didn't want to gamble losing her to a critical Flamethrower, so I swap out for Finny. Finny makes it rain with Drizzle and shrugs off the Flamethrower before I forgot the red card, and a Furret is dragged out. Furret uses knockoff for okay damage while I buff up with Calm Mind. Same thing for the next turn, and finally we get a one-shot with an Origin Pulse. Taurus is out next, and I know that Finny isn't fast enough to outspeed, and that the Taurus can have some nasty grass moves, so I swap out for Dummy. Taurus leads with a Throat Chop for over half of Dummy's HP, while I buff up Dummy's speed with Agility. Hoping that it's enough for the outspeed, I gamble that we can get a one-shot with Hammer Arm, but it's not enough and Taurus is left with just a sliver of HP and delivers another Throat Chop to knock out Dummy. Busy finishes off Tauros with Spark and Blissey is out once again. It has natural cure, so unfortunately it's cured of its toxic poisoning. We trade blows from here on out, Thunderbolt for Flamethrower. While they're doing about equal damage to one another, Blissey unfortunately gets burned and I swap it back out for Nighty. We try to end the fight with Hyper Beam, but it does very little damage and gives Blissey a free turn to heal up a Soft Boiled. Nighty buffs up with Dragon Dance after taking some hard seismic tosses. I heal up Nighty, then on the next turn, I have him use Aqua Tail for a surprising amount of damage to end Blissey. Smeargle is out, and another Aqua Tail would have one-shot, but it holds on from a Focus Sash and paralyzes Nighty with Nuzzle. Another Nuzzle deals a little bit more damage, but because we have a Flare for the dramatic, we finish off with Hyper Beam to deal just 1 point of damage, earning us our 7th gym badge. Without hesitation, our next leg starts off with a game show. Left, lose $10,000. Left, lose $1,000. Left, receive a TM for Earthquake. Right, Finny gets weaker. So to quickly recap, we paid $11,000 for a traumatized Finny and an Earthquake TM. Great. The next route is a course rough route. There we level up the team and catch a Flygon. We name her Nagi or Nogi, depending on how you want to pronounce it, and then continue on to the shopping stop. There we sell lots of our junk and spend the money on healing items for the team before using some and moving on to the final gym leader. The last gym leader is Water, but I forgot to swap Busy into the lead position, so it's Benny leading the charge. Feraligatr is out first. We both buff up, Cosmic Power for agility. I want to buff Lenny again, knowing that it has to endure a super effective move at some point, but a liquidation one-shots instead. I send out Gummy next, but Feraligatr outspeeds and hits a strong Ice Punch. Gummy saps strengths and fully heals from the hit. Feraligatr continues its onslaught of Ice Punches, but after the attack down it doesn't hurt quite so much. Gummy hits Toxic, but it's unnecessary as a Giga Drain nearly one-shots Feraligatr on the next turn. Next is Ludicolo, and I keep out Gummy. Ludicolo surprisingly outspeeds and has Ice Beam of all moves to leave Gummy with just 33 HP as Gummy hits Toxic to badly poison. I have Gummy protect itself to buy another turn of Black Sludge healing and the Toxic damage to build up. I max heal Gummy, but once again it's hit for half HP from Ice Beam. Toxic continues to tear apart Ludicolo's health. I gamble on my math skills and try for a Strength Sap over Protect, and another Ice Beam nearly knocks out Gummy. But luckily she holds on and lands Sap Strength to heal back up to half HP as Ludicolo finally succumbs to poison damage. Starmie's out next, and I keep out Gummy because she hasn't let me down yet. We try to set up Toxic, but a Psyshock brings down the Queen. I should have known it would happen. I was expecting it to use another Ice move like the other two, not a same type attack bonus super effective move. I forgot that Starmie was part Psychic, and for that, I'm sorry, Gummy. Here's hoping we make it through the fight and the Professor can reunite us. Busy is up next to take revenge for our sweet Gummy. We start off with Reflect knowing that it will at least lower the damage of Psyshock, and it pays off immediately. Turn 2, Busy throws a Thunderbolt with Vengeance and gets a one-shot. Blastoise is out, and I keep out Busy. Thunderbolt nearly one-shots it, but it holds on with just a sliver and then tries for a Water Spout. Water Spout probably would have hit pretty hard, but luckily, due to Thunderbolt hitting so hard, it does almost nothing. Busy finishes off Blastoise with a Spark, and Omastar is out next. I swap out to Finny, and we both buff up to start. Shell Smash for Calm Mind. Omastar hits Rock Slide and is swapped out from Finny's red card, dragging Politoed back in. Unfortunately, the Rock Slide causes Finny to flinch, so we miss our free turn. Politoed opens with Hydro Pump as we hit back with Origin Pulse, bringing it almost into red. Another Hydro Pump, but this one deals way less damage as Finny finishes off Politoed with Muddy Water. Omastar is back out and once again leads with Shell Smash, but Finny capitalizes on the lower defense and crushes Omastar with an Origin Pulse for the one-shot, winning us our last gym badge. From here, I wasn't sure what was going to happen, but another leg of the journey pops up, so I guess we continue on. 2 powerful layers appear, and behind them is a lab, along with the Mighty Trainer. Having just lost Gummy, I take the route leading to the lab in hopes we can be reunited. We get in the lair, and we are greeted by a Jolteon. Not the best considering we have Busy, but it could have been a lot worse. After trading a couple hits with Nagi, we catch her and name her Yigi. We go into the lab with fingers crossed, and inside is Dairy, Benny, and Heracross. Seeing Dairy and Benny means that only the Pokemon you choose gets re-rolled. So unfortunately our odds of getting Gummy are incredibly low if we come across another lab. I reunite with Benny and they're holding on an item, so I check it out and it's a Wild Curse. I read the description and it lets me know that now all routes contain one less random Pokemon. So if a route would have had 3 Pokemon, instead it will only have 2. Which sucks, but we're kind of past the team building phase, so I'm not too chapped by it. After the lab, we get into a battle prep rest stop. So we stop by and shop up, buying a Blender Policy, a Life Orb, but then teaching Finny Scald instead of Muddy Water. I heal up the team using some items, then we're on to the next Mighty Trainer. I don't know what to expect, so I have Nagi in the lead. She sends out Sableye first. We start off with a Sandstorm to help out with some extra damage before using enough Earthquakes to reshape the entire Northern Hemisphere. We knock out Sableye in 3, Gengar with 1, then Crobat is sent out, which I feel is not on Phoebe's brand, but okay. So we swap out to Yiggy. Yiggy outspeeds Crobat and one-shots with Thunderbolt, then she sends out another off-brand Pokemon in Beedrill. I keep Yiggy out to continue her Thunderbolt rampage. Beedrill survives the first and sets up a Tailwind, buffing her team's speed. Then, after outspeeding, it brings Yiggy down to 88 HP before it gets knocked down by Thunderbolt. Dusclops is out next, and I have faith in Yiggy to handle taking a hit or two. I have Yiggy use Toxic on it, but unfortunately it has Seismic Toss and it's more than Yiggy can take and is knocked out. I send out Busy to finish off the Dusclops, but not before setting up a Reflect to reduce the incoming damage. Another Seismic Toss does decent damage as Thunder brings Dusclops within range for Toxic to knock out. Unfortunately, it's not quite enough, and another Seismic Toss brings Busy down to 128 HP. Finally, Phoebe sends out Shedinja, a bug ghost Pokemon that has only 1 HP but can only be hit by super effective moves. So I have no choice but to swap out Busy. I look over movesets, and luckily Nighty has a 100% accuracy flying move that can deal with it no problem. So we send out Nighty and finish off the fight, earning us our first Elite Gym badge. The next leg contains a Pokemon Lab, and I tunnel vision onto it in hopes of retrieving my Gummy or maybe even Dummy or Yiggy. I head inside and once again I'm greeted by the Heracross, surprisingly Yiggy, and Dairy. I choose Yiggy and she's holding on to an item, a Species Curse. This curse prevents us from catching duplicate Pokemon. So if we're close to being wiped out, we can't just reload our party with one Pokemon. This one does bother me a bit, especially because we now have the Wild Curse and I still have 3 more Elite Four members to go. Another battle prep stop, but there's nothing here, so we just continue on. With this upcoming gym battle though, I'm not that confident as we're not at the level cap and we can't just use the training dummy. So instead I'm hoping the trainer isn't just 6 levels above me. It's Elite 4 member Sydney, who specializes in dark types. He sends out Umbreon to start and then 3 levels above me. Not the end of the world, but again not the best. Anyway, the battle between Nagi and Umbreon is rather dull. Nagi gets poisoned and cured a lot, while Umbreon takes Sandstorm damage in the meantime. Eventually, I don't cure Nagi's poison in hopes to take down Umbreon, but no such luck and Nagi goes down to poison. I send out Benny and he cleans it up with a Mach Punch, getting everyone to level 91. So at least we're now on par with them. Next out is Sharpedo, which is great for us because Benny is super effective against both water and dark. First turn, it simply blocks Benny's Sky Uppercut, but the second turn, Sharpedo hits a strong Ice Beam before Benny returns fire with an incredible Sky Uppercut that would have knocked it out, except for the Focus Sash. Sharpedo's Rough Skin ability and Benny's Life Orb take a decent chunk out of Benny, but next turn Mach Punch finishes off Sharpedo and the Life Orb leaves Benny with only 19 HP. Next out is Houndoom, so we swap out to Finny to counter. Houndoom opens up at the Dark Pulse but is immediately one-shot by a powerful Water Spout. Next out is Shiftry, so I counter with Nighty, who one-shots with a Wing Attack. Next is Crawdaunt, so Busy is out. Another easy one-shot with Thunderbolt, and finally it's Absol. I keep Busy out because probably the only one who can outspeed the Absol and won't get caught off guard by an off-type move. We set up Reflect to reduce physical damage, and it pays off right away as Absol uses Knock Off and then takes some damage from its Life Orb. Thunderbolt leaves Absol with only a sliver as it uses Knock Off and feigns due to Life Orb damage. On the next leg, it gives me the choice of yet another Pokemon Lab for the chance to reunite with Gummy, so you bet I'm gonna take it. I enter in and are greeted by a damn Sunkern where our queen should be. So I retrieve Derry the Houndoom, and he's also holding a curse. This one's the Enduring Curse. This gives the opponent 20% chance of not being knocked out, so kind of like a Focus Sash, I guess? We're greeted by ourselves for a lovely mirror match. We both send out Busy, but luckily we are 4 levels higher, so we have the stat advantage as far as I know. This matchup wasn't too tough as I could easily stay ahead of rotation. Both of us set up a Reflect turn 1 even though all we know is Spark for physical moves. We trade Thunderbolts until I finally get the knockout thanks to our level lead. Then she sends out Kyogre and we continue to Thunderbolt it down. We Thunderbolt turn 1 to bring Kyogre down to mid-yellow before it returns fire with an Origin Pulse that unfortunately crits and knocks out Busy. This couldn't have come at a worse time. We're in the home stretch and we just lost one of our aces. I send out Yiggy to clean up with more Thunderbolts, and she does just that. Next she sends out Breloom, so I counter with Derry. Luckily he one-shots with Flamethrower, which is surprising considering fire moves are weakened due to rain, but I'll take it. I really gambled on that one because Derry probably would have been one-shotted by a Sky Uppercut. Next out is Dragonite, so I counter with Yiggy, who hits Thunderbolt for just over half HP while Dragonite buffs up with Dragon Dance. Luckily Yiggy is still faster and lands another Thunderbolt for the knockout. Then she sends out Houndoom, so I counter with Finny, who one-shots with Liquidation, and finally Jolteon is out, so I play it safe and send out Benny. Jolteon hits Toxic while Benny hits a hard Sky Uppercut, surprisingly one-shotting and getting us the win. As a reward, we're given 3 Hyper Beam TMs and a choice of Pokemon, another Breloom or another Houndoom. You can tell that I'm displeased by the fact that it gave me the choice of the 2 weakest Pokemon on our teams, but whatever. A Pokemon is a Pokemon, even if I'm technically not supposed to be able to get them because of my Curse Charm, but whatever. So I choose Breloom and name her Bobby. Next up is a battle prep stop, so I buy some more stat boost items, an ability patch, and then I give them to my team and we continue on to the next Elite Four member. I know I have Drake and someone else left, but I can't remember who the other one is, so I put Bobby out as my lead and approach the stadium. I end up facing Drake and I don't know if I'm happy or sad about it. He leads Salamence, so I'm out of luck and I have to switch out to Yigi because with the strong sunlight, I know a boosted fire move is coming my way. Yigi luckily holds up against a Fire Blast, taking half HP. I keep her out and hope that she can outspeed, but sadly I lose my bet and she's knocked out by a second Fire Blast. Finny is out because I can't send out Nighty, Derry, or Bobby because they're simply not strong enough and will get one-shotted by a super effective move. Finny eats a Fire Blast like it was a hot Cheeto and comes back with a critical, not very effective Water Spout to one-shot Salamence. Latios is out next, so I keep out Finny to try for another strong Water Spout, but it gets hit by a strong Thunderbolt, dropping it to just under half HP and cutting the power of Water Spout. Even though I just saw that it did 150 plus damage, it didn't register in my brain, so instead of swapping out to someone else to take the next Thunderbolt, I go for an Origin Pulse but get struck down, losing my second Legendary in just 2 fights. I send out Derry next to target the Psychic Dual type, and after taking a Thunderbolt and healing some damage from a Citrus Berry, Foul Play knocks out the healthy Latios. Kingdra is out next, so I send out Bobby, but her tenure in my party is extremely short-lived as she gets Draco Meteored for a one-shot. Now with Kingdra's special attack down, I send out Benny to try again. A Seed Bomb deals great damage as Life Orb takes its cut, and then Draco Meteor brings Benny down to mid-yellow. I don't want to risk getting outsped, so I use Mach Punch to end Kingdra. Flygon is out next, and I keep out Benny, though he gets outsped and hit by Flamethrower. With only 2 Pokemon left, I send out Nighty as a risk, and I hope that Flygon is built more towards ground moves than Dragon. I luck out, and Flygon uses Flamethrower, which only deals 12 damage as I buff up Nighty with Dragon Dance. This goes on for 3 turns before I use Aqua Tail and knock out Flygon with 1 hit. Because having 1 Legendary just wasn't enough for Drake, he also happens to have a Rayquaza, and because I've buffed up Nighty, I can't really take him out. I'm too scared to go for Hyper Beam because I've buffed Nighty's attack 3 stages, and if it doesn't one-shot, we're in serious trouble. So we go for Aqua Tail and it lands, dealing half of Rayquaza's HP, as it returns fire with Scale Shot, luckily only hitting twice before lowering its defense, but raising its speed. Praying that I can hit the 90% accuracy Aqua Tail, I have Nighty go for it again and we luck out, finishing off Rayquaza in just 2 turns. Right when I thought the fight couldn't get any worse, boom. He also has a Latios. I keep Nighty out to continue our Aqua Tail strat, and once again it hits for half HP before getting taken out by Psychic. Now I'm down to just Derry, but I'm hoping he can pull through. Our run is doomed, but I'm confident we can at least get through this last fight. Latios must not have had any other good moves because they go for Psychic, which doesn't hit Dark-type Pokemon, as Derry uses Foul Play, getting us our well-deserved 3rd Elite Gym badge. On our next leg, a tough route spawns, and I zone in on it, hoping that its Pokemon are weak to Fire or Dark. It's a breezy route, so hopefully not too bad. We dive in, and our first encounter is a Pelipper with Drizzle. Literally the worst thing that could have happened to us aside from maybe a Sharpedo or a Pure Fairy type. But what's worse is that it's a Pelipper. A Pelipper is what's going to end our amazing run unless I can manage to catch it. So I try Quick Ball, but no luck, and to mock me, it tried using Roost at full HP. I feel like I'm being teabagged after dying from fall damage. With no other good Pokeballs to use, I'm left with no choice but to weaken it before I try for another catch. A Foul Play does little damage before a Hurricane deals 120 damage. Crunch does way more damage, dropping Pelipper down to low yellow, and now I have a hope of catching it as it sets up a Tailwind. Unsure of what other ball to use, I throw out a Heal Ball. It escapes easily, but tries to set up another Tailwind, giving me yet another attempt. It's not a fast Pokemon, so a Fast Ball is useless. It's not an Ultra Beast, so that one's pretty much useless to me as well. It's Daylight out, so Dusk Ball isn't going to help me. We're 3 turns in, so Timer Ball's also useless. And I must say, my morale is at an all-time low. I have such high hopes, but absolutely zero confidence that I'll catch this Forsaken Bird. With no more Heal Balls, I try for a Fastball hoping that it takes into account the Tailwind, and we're so damn close. 1 more shake to go and we had it. Then, it shatters our hopes and dreams with a Hydro Pump. After teasing us with all of its wasted moves, it just had to use 2 moves to railroad us and send us crawling home. I arrive back at our hub and we're given 11,000 for our run. The money is different than the money we earned in the runs because with this you can buy permanent items for your next runs at various stores within the hub, or you can go play at the safari to catch Pokemon you encountered during your runs so that you can use them for future attempts. Or you can go play at the safari to catch Pokemon you encountered during your past runs so that you can start your future attempts with them. That's why I had some other Pokemon in the box at the beginning of the run. I hope you liked this attempt and thanks for sitting through it all. I know it was definitely a long one. Before going in to do the narration, the video length was sitting at just over 33 minutes. This was also only my third or fourth attempt, and every other time I had only made it to like the third or fourth gym battle before getting swept by a Blaziken or Ampharos, which made each of the other attempts only like 30 or 40 minutes. So I was really hoping that my introduction to this series would be kind of just one of those shorter ones, I guess. I didn't really want to take on a really big project, and yet here I am. This video took almost 5 hours to record. And while I was recording it, I was also watching videos, and while I was recording, I didn't separate, I didn't isolate the game audio and my voiceover. So during it, all of the game audio is just filled with the videos I was watching. So hopefully next time I'll find a way to isolate the audio so I don't have to do a whole nother narration, because editing down the narration sucked. I stutter a lot. I wrote out an entire script for the entire thing. It is 16 pages, 8,500 words, and I don't really ever want to do that again. I probably will at some point, just because I'm assuming this won't be my last time doing this, but I hope it's not for another 40-minute video. I could probably manage with something like 10-15 minutes, but another 40 minutes sucked to do. Doing the whole voiceover with my mistakes, reading the script, I had like an hour and a half, almost 2 hours with how often I blundered it. So thanks for like slogging through this. If you kind of, I don't know. Thanks for sitting through it, I guess. It was a bitch and a half to make. I've been sitting on this footage for like a month and a half, just kind of dreading doing the voiceover, editing the voiceover, because listening to your own voice for like the first time actually doing a project really sucks. Again, thanks for sitting through it. Bye.